All right, hello folks. Welcome to Yak Math Videos for the first time here in Mr. Yak's future daughter's room here. We got a lovely unicorn and a cute little bunny here as title sponsors today. Anyway, hopefully there's enough lighting in this video. For your game plan, section 1.4, 1.6 review video here. The game plan is due on Wednesday. Here we are, folks, on page 4, beginning on page 4. This is section 1.4, and the first game time section here. Evaluate each expression if x is -6 and y is 7. Actually, here's number 2. We're going to do that one first. Simply multiply absolute value of a -42 is 42. Add 31 to it. Again, pause this video whenever you need to. Here's number 4, folks. All right, I think I would draw an arrow up for the answer there. Moving on to number 5, 7 minus -6 is 13. 6 times 13 plus 17, 95. Again, we might have done some of these in class. You get a lot of helpful hints here. Today's video, what comes out of the absolute value is always positive. Absolute value of -24 is 24. Just follow the order of operations there. And lastly, on this page, number 10, going to have 12 times 42, 504. So maybe asked me in class if you can get those huge answers. You definitely can. All right, again, let me back away here so maybe the line's a little better. We stop on number 12. Now you're solving for x here on out. You can't have the absolute value equal negative. That is never okay, so it's simply no solution. Here on 13, you need to add 3, then divide by 2. You get the absolute value of 3x minus 1 is 7. That gives you your two equations of 3x minus 1 is 7 and 3x minus 1 is -7, giving you both those answers. All right, again, 8 over 3 is 2.6 repeating. We should know that. Divide both sides by -2 to get the absolute value of 8x plus 1 is 10. 10 is positive. That is okay. 8x plus 1 is 10. 8x plus 1 is -10. You get those two answers. If you got a decimal, I'm sure it's all right. All right, we really got to pay attention on like 15 through 18 here. So here's number 16. So you drop the absolute value, set it equal to exactly what you see. Drop the absolute value and set it equal to the opposite of the right side. So that'd be -2x minus 7. Here I subtracted x, then subtracted 7. X equals -6. Y is a no-no because if you plug it in there, you get a -5. You can't have the absolute value equal -5. That's extraneous. Then I solved this one. I believe I added 2x and then subtracted 1. I get -2.6 repeating. If I plug that in right there, that is also not okay, right? Let's see, negative. So actually, no, that one should be okay. So we made a little boo-boo there. That one's definitely going to be okay. Yeah, no, that one works. Don't know what I was thinking about. So, because if you plug, yeah, that one is a winner. No solution is not the answer. All right. If you plug -2.6 repeating in there, you're going to get -16 over 3, and plus 7 is positive, so that answer is okay. You might hear Yogi growl. I don't know, someone probably passed by the house. Anyway, you need a good guard dog. Yogi's for hire. Set this equal to drop the absolute value bars. All right, so you get -0.8. Negative times a negative is a positive, so that answer works. Then set the what's inside the absolute value, set it equal to the opposites of the left side there. Solve for x. If you get 8s, that becomes -44. Can't have the absolute value equal negative. That answer is no good. Those are definitely the hardest questions. All right, next page here. This is page 6. Page 6, we're looking at number 22. Divide both sides by -3. You can't have the absolute. You can't have an absolute value equals 7. So simply set x plus 2 equals 7, and then -7. That one's a pretty piece of cake. Set 4x equal to 6x minus 8, and then the opposite, -4x equals 6x minus 8. You get 4, plug 4 in there, it works, you get 16. Here you get 0.8, plug that in, you also get a positive, so they're both winners. Okay, those are definitely the hardest ones, maybe from this entire game plan. All right, we are going to move on now. Sorry if it's a little dark in here. Going to move on to page 10. This is the game time section from 1.5. Again, this is page 10. just distributes. All right, the x is already on the left or the right side, so I'm going to add 18 over. 5 6 is less than or equal to 8. That's 0.83 repeating. Now, if I flip it, guys, some of us made a boo-boo on our review assignment. If I put x on the left side, the mouth is still going to go towards 5 over 6. Okay, so it's going to be closed circle, shade to the left. Here we are on number 6. Again, only x is on the left, so I'm going to subtract 33. I'm going to divide by negative, so the sign flips. Flip it good. X less than or equal to 11. Close circle, shade to the left. On page 11, got quite a few here for help. Page 11, number 9, you got to subtract 17 first. And then I have over 4, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. Again, 22 minus 17. It should be minus there. Good thing I have a pin up here. It should be minus 17. Leaves you with 5. Then I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. 9x plus 3 is less than 20. Subtract 3. X is less than 17 over 9, which is 1.8 repeating, I believe. Next one I have is number 12. Simply multiplies both sides by 4, then add the 2x over. 14x is greater than negative 1. You're going to divide by positive, so the sign doesn't flip. Again, fractions are great. 13 is really familiar. Looks like 9. Make sure to add 7 to both sides, and you got the 2. You're going to multiply both sides by negative, so the sign must flip. 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4, and again, you flip the sign. Subtract 3, and then divide by 5. So it can be negative 1.4 or negative 7/5. All right, then we get into section 1.6, which we started Thursday, and I'm going to give you some help on page 15 there, number 2. When you only want the x in the middle, remember the Beyonce, all the single x's in the middle there. Add 4, then you're going to divide both sides by 2. Negative 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 8. I like this one. You're going to subtract 2, then you're going to divide by negative 1, which flips the sign. So I can leave it like that, or I could put negative 8 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2. That's one we'll probably talk about. And number 6 we'll probably talk about on Tuesday. Okay, subtract 2. Absolute value of 7 minus x is less than 6. So solve both. And then remember, when it's absolute value, so you can live 6 to the right, 6 to the left. And we're talking about to the left, we've really multiplied an inequality by negative, so that's why the sign flips. Solve both. Remember, you're dividing by negative, so that sign flips and then that sign flips. So technically, this would be an and statement. You can be bigger than 1 and less than 13. Then here on number 6, we're going to add 4 to both sides, and then instead of, so to get rid of the 1/2, I could divide 6 by 1/2, or I could multiply both sides by 2. So do one of those two things. Absolute value of x plus 5 less than or equal to 12. So drop the absolute value, x plus 5 less than or equal to 12. And then make it negative, and then flip the sign. So again, this would be an and statement. You can be less than or equal to 17 and greater than or equal to negative 7. That was page 15, folks. Here we are on page 16. Again, we're going to help you with number 12 here. We're going to add 7 to both sides and then divide by 5. 3x minus 4 in the absolute value is less than 8. That's your first inequality. That's your second one here. And notice, folks, I did not finish. So let's try to do that right there. 3x less than 12. X is less than 4. All right, then add 4 to both sides. You get 3x greater than negative 4. X is greater than negative 4/3. That would be an and statement as well. Just add 4 and divide by 3. That's negative 1.3 repeating. Take a look here at 13. You're going to add 6 to both sides, then divide by 3, which I did not do correctly. That should be 5. That'll make that 6. That'll make that 3. That should be a 3. That'll be a negative 5. Make that a negative 4. So this should be a negative 2. So it's x is greater than 3. X is less than negative 2. So a lot of potential boo-boos here I've made. I want to get rid of that dividing by 3 by multiplying by 3. So absolute value of x plus 5 is greater than or equal to 12. Those are my two inequalities. All right, subtract 5, subtract 5. This would have to be an or statement. You can't be bigger than 7 and less than negative 17. All right, folks, and then the final page, page 17. We'll talk about the bonus here in a second. Again, the bonus is for a lovely, tasty treat. Subtract 6 from both sides, then divide by 3. I divided by 3 correctly here. X minus 2 greater than or equal to 5. X minus 2 less than or equal to negative 5. Those are 2 answers. Then look at 4. So 4, folks, let's distribute in the middle and on the right side. I only want a single x in the middle. Well, luckily, I can get rid of that 2x, and I can subtract 2x just to have a single x in the middle. Then I'm going to get rid of that minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides, and that's relatively painless. All right, and then finally, number 6. Add 9 to both sides, then divide by 3. Piece of cake there. All right, and finally, folks, bonus. Name every Bob Dylan album from the 1960s. Put here or on the front of the packet. Hide your answers, folks. The less people that get this, the more goodies you get. Again, name every Bob Dylan album. That's a CD. You know, before this was on vinyl, but you know what an album is. All right, put here or on front of packets. All right. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching. This toy, which is yet to be named, thanks you. So to this guy right here. All right, this is Yak Math Videos signing out.